Dzień dobry wszystkim. Welcome everybody. First of all, thank you very much for joining our Power Chat. And as it will be Power Chat, you will see that it will be quick, concrete, and exciting. I think so. First question. We are talking about brand today. So what is it really, the brand of the CEO? Somebody was not brave enough to write the real title of the Power Chat because we have it here, CEO as a brand. As a matter of fact, I would like to talk about the CEO as a product. As branding, personal branding is about ourselves, about our name, about the promise that we put, about the reputation. So my first question to our dear guests is, would you be so kind to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. Greetings, everyone. It's lovely to be here. I never considered myself as a very talented or gifted person, but I was always a big believer that no matter what is your origin, your country, your skin, you can achieve great things. And maybe I was lucky because in high school I already knew that I want to run a big company. And my journey started 15 years ago when I founded my first company. It was steel business. And within 5 years, we made it like a top 20 in Poland. And after that, in 2010, we started, me with my business partner, we started G2A. And G2A today is the biggest global gaming marketplace, the marketplace for gaming products, with 14 million customers across the world, more than 170 countries, with also a big part of the business of fintech and payment solution. So that is briefly what we do, and yeah, that's it.
Mark, please.
Well, who am I? Yeah, I'm Austrian, living in Switzerland, working for a Swiss-German company, and enjoying and working most of my time in Poland. Yeah, and I always wanted to have an international role. I'm a very curious person. I'm an open person. I'd like to meet people and also learn about new horizons. And my professional career, I started actually in finance. I joined Axel Springer Group, one of our shareholders, some 10 years ago. And until then, I was always working in environments, where culture was rather weak. Yeah, it was very much about productivity and only figures. And I realized only what I missed when I joined Axel Springer, yeah, because this company is some company which has a purpose, which has a soul, and that resonated very much to me. And having spent a couple of years in Berlin with Axel Springer, I then was given the opportunity to create a completely new company in Central Eastern Europe, Ringier Axel Springer, which is basically today one of the leading digital publishers in Central Eastern Europe. And we started actually with a very huge transformation task, yeah, to really digitize the business and also preserve in markets, young democracies, the journalistic function, yeah, which is a substantial pillar in a democratic society. And this is very much in line with what Axel Springer stands for. Yeah? It's values to defend and to stand up for them whenever time is needed. And this has a particular context today, and this is something which fills me with a great passion and gives me the drive every day to work for this company. And here I am, and there is no other place I would like to be.
Thank you very much. Today we are talking about the brands, products, experience. What's your own definition of a personal brand of the CEO? And how does it correlate with the brand of the company?
Thank you. Well, the term, I was thinking about it. CEO as a brand. I mean, first of all, I think it's very important that you know what do you want to stand for. Yeah? And there is two dimensions. There is the internal dimension for the company and the market dimension. And for me, always the internal dimension comes first, because this is about people. Yeah? And you cannot build a sustainable market image, if you want so, if you do not have a credible positioning with your people. Yeah? And so I think the brand of the CEO is very much tied to his value-based attitude, yeah? And how he's dealing with people. Yeah? And on the basis of this, of course, he's also representing the company.
Bartek?
Few things here. One is few perspectives. One perspective is when you look from the public relation perspective on the CEO, then the CEO, especially at the beginning of your journey, especially at the beginning of creating the company, if we talk about entrepreneurial life, then the CEO is the company because he so much believes in the company. And it is also very often a match like hand and a glove, that he feels that this is his baby. And after that, across the years, let's say, when the company is growing, and this very important thing for CEO is to understand that he must move back a little bit and create a space for his people. So that is another area of being CEO and the company. And there are also two different models when you look at the big brands, big companies. When you look at Facebook or mention today Amazon, you can see Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos. And they are like their companies, so they are the face of the companies. On the other hand, you can see the companies like Sony, and which is a great company, but if I ask today, if anyone here know who is the CEO of the Sony, it's a maybe difficult question for us here. So it depends what is your strategy with your business. If you want to be a face of a company, especially if you are entrepreneurial, this is much easier, or if you allow your company to run and you are a CEO, like a chief executive officer.
Thank you very much. We are talking also about emotions, and just listening to the Borussia presentation, I have such thought that everything what was said about Borussia is also, in terms of the brand, coherent with you. It was intense, authentic, with the ambition and bonding. But what else? Because we are, as a human beings, we have also feelings, emotions that you have just mentioned. So what kind of the values are for you as the CEOs and human beings, of course, and the product, the most important in your life? Professional, but also the private one.
Well, I mean, just as the core of Borussia Dortmund had been authenticity, I think it's all about genuinity and authenticity. Yeah? So for me, this is very crucial. I don't like people who are wearing masks. Yeah? I like people who show their emotions in a mature, controlled way, of course. Yeah? But I like to see if somebody is doing well or if he's occupied. Yeah? And I'm very much the same. I cannot hide it, and I don't want to hide it. Yeah? And for me, this is really important that I feel the person. Yeah? And that's the only way how you can actually build trust. Yeah? So this is, for me, if I have to select one, the most fundamental value.
All right, thank you.
You mentioned few values. They are, of course, important for me, and two which are the very crucial from the very beginning of my career was trust and loyalty. And this is a foundation for me to do business with everyone. And also, which is very important, to be a CEO for my people, because you cannot push people. You can only pull them, follow you. We can call it leading by example. To give you an example, you cannot require from people to work hard if you are not working hard. You cannot expect that they are going to work many hours or take feedback if you don't take feedback. So firstly, I look at myself always, morning in the mirror, asking questions, how can I do better? And this is everyday work. Sometimes it's pretty challenging because you have to keep your ego down. You have to think and ask challenging questions and listen to people and encouraging them, because very often people are afraid to talk to you. If you're a strong personality, then your employees especially, they're afraid to tell you difficult things. And you have to encourage them by listening, and you have to encourage them by encouraging give me the feedback, and after that, prove that you do something with this feedback, not only listen. So trust and loyalty in this perspective is something very core for me.
So trust, authentic leadership, and it's true, and I think that all of us would agree that yes, we do trust authentic leaders. But there's also such a Japanese proverb, fall 7 times, get up 8. So my question to you, what kind of the failures, but also successes, were your springboard for your success, and what really made you guys authentic leaders that we can trust?
I mean, I strongly believe that diamonds are born under pressure, yeah? And that if you grow as a person, it's always crises which really shape you. Yeah? The successes are also important, of course, but it's more for the motivation. But the learning actually comes from the crisis. Yeah? For me, the most important shaping was actually a big crisis. Yeah? So I was at the age of 30, and I was in my first MD position for a company in a group. And the group was acquired by Axel Springer, and 5 months later, it had to go into insolvency. Yeah? And I was the first guy who had to file for insolvency, yeah, as an MD of one company. And as bad luck happens, an employee in my company made a mistake. And this guy was on my payroll, but he was reporting to the group CFO. Yeah? But in an insolvency, nobody cares about group. It's the legal entity. And when my lawyer told me, Mark, you have bad cards. You have a personal liability of 2.5 million euro. This was a moment when I really felt what responsibility in a company means. Yeah? And in this moment, you realize also who you can trust and you cannot trust. Yeah? Because the group CFO was my boss, and he was actually on the other side, so it's either him or me. And in this moment, you know, there was a lot of trust, and we looked at each other and said, let's try to solve it. Yeah? And it would have been very easy that one of us would have cheated and the other one would have had to swallow the bitter pill. Yeah? But we solved it, and this has created trust which lasts until today. So the guy at the time is today a board member at Axel Springer, and I'm the CEO of Ringier Axel Springer. Yeah? It has connected us for 10 years, and this was for me a very valuable experience.
Thank you very much for sharing it with us. Thank you. Bartek, how about you?
When we talk about successes and failures in the life of CEO, especially in the entrepreneurial life, so if you own the company, many people think that, oh, it's such a great thing to be the CEO. He's non-stop rewarding for something, great car, traveling across the world, and so on and so on. But there is the dark side of this, I must assure you. The dark side is that I can say for myself, but please all CEOs confirm. Over the last 15 years, I was CEO, so I haven't been promoted. Yeah, it's pretty depressed. Your average day is 14 hours, sometimes 12, that's the minimum, sometimes 20, sometimes more. Every day you put on risk all you have. All assets you have in your life, financial life, you put on every day on a trade, on a risk with your company. And that is such a huge amount of stress behind this that you have to deal with it on every day. So being a CEO is very interesting, like I said before, journey, but this is also extremely demanding. And it has brights and ups and downs. And if we talk about my successes and failures, I failed 1,000 times every day. I fail with something. Also, there was a big failures, like I was in the moment when I lost everything I built. I built a great company, and after that I lost everything, and I had to start everything from the beginning. And that was very difficult, because also at the moment you can see who is your true friend and how many people were with you only because you were before on Forbes, great newspaper, or maybe you were so successful and people wanted to be with you, and you can see who is your true friend for a long time and who is not. And this is also a very challenging experience internally. So if we talk about successes, I still believe that the biggest successes are still to come.
Perfect, we'll come back to it. But in the meantime, I would kindly ask you to go into the applications where you have the survey. And I have prepared for you 3 questions that our guests will see the result. How do you answer? And the questions are, if you go into the applications, please. Is it more important that a CEO is respected or liked? I know that sometimes it happens that they are both respected and liked, but sometimes it's opposite. The second is, do you feel as a part of the team taking the decision together with your CEO? Does your opinion count? Both gentlemen, when I was talking to them, they were stressing how open they are, how they are informing the company. I am sure that your bosses also, but how do you feel? And the third one, do you know the strategy of your company executed by the CEO? We were saying about and talking about the correlation, yes, between the promise that the CEO brand is giving to us and the company that is also promising something, and what do we experience? So yes or no? So in the meantime, if you'd be so kind to go into the survey, I would be very, I would appreciate it, and we'll discuss the result. And the last question for you is about the future. So what are your plans? I mean, we have 2 successful gentlemen. What are your plans? Polish company that became the global one, foreign company being also very successful in Poland. So where is the sky? Where is the limit?
I mean, for Ringier Axel Springer Group, we have a very clear vision. We want to be the leading digital publisher in Central Eastern Europe, and when we started this journey back in 2010, we had a print business. We had no digital business. We had 3% digital revenue and no digital profits. Yeah? And we are successfully transforming the company. 7 years later, half of our revenue is digital, 2/3 of our profits. Yeah? And we pursue this path, and my plan is to deliver this vision.
Bartek?
You know, when you fly to Hong Kong, New York, or Shanghai, and they ask you, where are you from? And you are saying, from Poland. Then the first thing you always hear is, from Holland? And the second question is, what is the big company in Poland? Because we have great companies, but in some industries, like Inglot in cosmetics or CD Projekt with Witcher in gaming, but we still don't have a fully global brand. When you think Germany, I don't know, BMW or Mercedes come to your mind. When we think United States, it's Google, Facebook, PayPal, other companies. And when you think Poland, still there is a gap. So my biggest dream is to fill up this gap, is to make our country, our fellow countrymen proud. When someone is asking you what the company you have in Poland, then you can say, we have a big global company from Poland, which is G2A. So that is my dream. This is why I'm working, and I believe many of my people as well.
Last question. Your private, not as a CEO, dream. What do you dream of? Reveal us it.
A healthy, long life.
Okay.
Very humble.
I hope that you will have such one.
I have so many of them. But
One.
it's climbing Mount Everest.
Okay,
That
climber.
is my private dream.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I ask to show us the result of the survey that we just had, if we have any? So, just to tell you, is it more important that the CEO is respected or liked? What do you think?
Definitely respected.
Well, I don't speak Polish, but I would say if you want to make people happy, you shouldn't be a leader, you should sell ice cream.
Very true.
I think there is something behind this, because if you are truly respected, people like you. So maybe that's the answer.
All right, how about the second question? So, do you know the strategy? Do you feel, as a part of the team taking the decision together with your CEO, does your opinion count, yes or not? Before you show it, So with the third one, I would like the gentleman to answer first. So please comment, because now you see the result.
So yes means that
that people feel the part of the team taking the part in the decision process.
Yeah, I mean, that's my learning. I mean, if you really want to change a company and you would like to go in a direction, you need to take the people along. And communication is important, involvement, and directive, autocratic leadership styles. They work less and less, yeah, and they've never been effective, yeah. But particularly with the younger generations who really reject authority, yeah, and demand this participation, it will become super success critical.
Thank you, Bartek.
That score is a confirmation of what I said before, that you as a CEO, you have to give your people the space to run the company, to manage the company, and yes, it should be their company, not yours company.
So please guess what could be the answers of our audience. Do you know the strategy of the company executed by the CEO? The majority, you would say yes or no?
I would say it's 50-50.
50-50. Bartek?
I'm almost sure that here it will be more that people say no, because we had this challenge and we put a lot of effort to have a rating right now like 90% positive. So I think that in most companies it is no.
All right, so please show us the result. 78%, they know the strategy. Good, so your efforts are worth, and the other CEOs. All right, so if I may, just to sum up, I think that yes, we agree that the personal branding and the brand of the CEO matters, but first of all, what do we care is what kind of the people you are. So thank you very much for your openness, because this is what do we trust, and such leaders we follow. And just for the end, I will just say the sentence of Winston Churchill, who said that success is not final, failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that really counts. And I think that both CEOs that we have a pleasure to guest here are the vivid proof of the dreams, of the continuity, of the strategy, clear goals, and real charisma. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.